Today we have Usha talking about
What happens in our urban system, we are kind of confused. We don't know how to deal with women who've lost their husbands in their 20s
Right.
and their 30s.
Right.
We are happy to put them in a closet, shut them, and then behave as if nothing happened.
Hasn't happened.
So he asked me, do you miss your father more or your husband more?
Brilliantly
It's a
said.
brilliant question, actually.
Coming from a child, it's
Coming
like,
from a
wow.
child who was 9 years old, okay?
Right.
So he said, so what do we do if you die? So the first thing which I told him, no, Rajay, I'll not die. He said, oh, 3 days ago you would have said the same thing about Appa.
Hi, Usha.
Hi, Shobhna.
How are you today?
Very good. Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for being a part of Zen But Not Come.
Privilege, pleasure.
Thank you. And so today we have this beautifully fascinating mother with an incredible journey.
Hello.
Her name is Usha, like I said. So, Usha, why don't you please introduce yourself?
I am Usha Narayan. I am a mother, a dancer, a fitness freak, some kind of a polymath. I do a lot of things, a little bit of a lot of things. I speak corporate jargon.
Which I don't understand.
And I love to speak. And hence I'm here with
Yes.
Shobhna talking about my experience.
Lovely. So, Usha, you have two lovely, should I call them boys or men?
Men, yes.
Because they're already
Yes.
on the verge, young men.
They're adults,
They're
yes,
almost
yes,
adults
yes,
there,
young
right?
men, that's right.
Yeah, so please, why don't you introduce your sons?
Yes, so my older one, my eldest son is Arjun Narayan. He is 20, pursuing his graduation. My younger one is Siddhant Narayan, and he's 18, also pursuing his graduation, just left home. So technically an empty nester, a fresh empty nester.
Ooh. And how do you like this phase?
So I think I've been preparing for this phase. When I say preparing, I've been preparing what to do next for this phase because I know this phase is going to come. So it is I wouldn't say it was like, oh, okay, I said bye and I said, all right, see you. It doesn't work like that. You do
Right.
miss the children, but you do have so many other things to do. And I think nowadays, because of technology which has brought us closer, I speak to the boys every day. With my younger one who's just left home, I speak to him on video call once in 3 days, 4 days.
Okay.
I insist.
Right.
So yes, we do miss them. See, you cannot not miss your children.
Right.
They are your heart, they are your soul, they are your flesh and your blood and everything, you know.
And you've been so used to having them for so many years.
Yes,
and
18 years.
18 years, right?
But the most important thing, which I think which it was a realization a week or so ago, is that it's only 18 years that they're going to be your children. In the sense, they will always be your children, but in the sense that you could tell them what to do. I mean, while they're teenagers, you can't tell them everything, but they do listen to you if you kind of package it well. Yeah.
We'll tap on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you package it well?
But what happens is once they leave home, you are not talking about your daily things, right? You're not telling them, are you drinking water? While you tell them, stay hydrated. It's something which I always tell my kids, eat well and stay hydrated. And I love you. So that's how I kind of sign off. But the point is, we don't tell them on a daily basis, did you eat, did you iron your clothes? That's done it. I mean, there's no more of that.
Right.
You're only going to be influencers, and you're going to be sitting across the dining table or in your living room talking to them as adults about their life, your life. They're not children anymore. So that is a realization. It's not something that we think of when we're still bringing them up, and when we are their caregivers in every sense. But when they leave home, I realized, oh, they're going to come home maybe once in a month, once in 2 months, and that's been the case with my elder one. But since the younger one just left, it sort of dawned onto me that this is how it's going to be.
Okay. I know it's a single motherhood that you are very strongly taking forward, and it's been like this for a while.
Yes.
So do you mind if we go back in history and speak about it a little bit?
Absolutely. So I got married to a naval pilot in 2003, Narayan, and SL as his friends call him, Dimpy as we call him at home. I think one of the most amazing men. I mean, a woman in love will always say that. But really, I mean, if you do talk to his friends, his family, they will tell you what a gem he was. And an extremely hands-on father.
Right.
I'll tell you one of those times when we were visiting my in-laws. They used to stay in Bangalore. and we were visiting my in-laws, and my kids are 2 years apart, which means that I had two toddlers, almost toddlers at the same time. Okay, so and he was very hands-on, and when I say hands-on, he wanted to do things, he wanted me to stay away, because he would think, when I'm at home, this is my time, I want my children for myself, so
Right.
can you not, I mean, can you stay away? And I was like, okay, I don't mind.
All right,
All
hands
right,
off.
just put food on the table. That also, he'll say, I'm going to make eggs for my kids, I'm going to make Maggie for my kids, or whatever. So I think
Right.
he was just, he was
He loved
so
it.
much in love with his kids.
Right.
I mean, like crazily, people will tell you if you ever speak to anyone who knew him and his kids. Okay,
Right.
so there was this time when my mother-in-law kind of observed, and she said, "How do you manage without him?" So I told him, I told her, I can manage. I mean, it's just that he also loves to do this. So that's the kind
Right.
of that's the kind of father that he
He
was.
was.
And he passed away 2014, January 2014. He passed away, freak incident, and he passed away. And since then, it's been me and the boys. But I've been very privileged, extremely privileged, I would say. My entire family from my side and my husband's side, who have been of great support.
Right.
And when I say support, support doesn't mean calling you and saying, hey, how are you? That's not support.
Right.
Support is sometimes anticipating what I would need at an emotional level. I'll tell you, women are very good financially. They have the financial acumen, which is something which people may not agree. But you put a woman in a circumstance where she has to take care of her finances, she'll come up with an algorithm and she will do it. Women are very good at it. It could be
Right.
stitching, it could be making achars. If you're not in your in a workforce, in
Right.
a so-called the corporate workforce, if you're not, you will find a way to make money.
Right.
What women really need, the kind of support that they need when they lose a spouse, is the emotional support, for which there's no algorithm.
Right.
Let me also kind of digress from motherhood here. I also run a social support initiative, a social support platform called Stree. This is for the upliftment and a support system for widows, urban widows specifically.
Right.
Because what happens in our urban system, we are kind of confused. We don't know how to deal with women who've lost their husbands in their 20s
Right.
and their 30s.
Right.
We are happy to put them in a closet, shut them, and then behave as if nothing happened.
Hasn't happened. Right.
That happens even in households where the so-called they've traveled and they have this experience and exposure and we've seen the world kind of thing. I've seen it happen. However, like I said, I've been privileged. I think my mother-in-law, a very strong lady, and hence also very conservative. And also, I think that strength is what she was the first one who told me, go and live your life, do what you want to do. And I'm saying this on record because she did say that. Okay, and my father-in-law, he has declared to the world that I'm his daughter. So I'm saying that that's the kind. See, you see that it's the emotional support.
Right.
So let's come back to my 2014. Yes, I've been by myself with the boys, and what happens is, this is something which I realized then itself, that it's a different normal. While we speak about it now, there are a lot of people who speak about, oh, this is a different normal. I realized it's going to be a different normal. 3 years into being by ourselves, my boys only knew me as their parent.
Right.
They did not know that, oh, the father was missing. In a social context, yes, they would possibly think that, people would talk about their fathers at that age. I'm saying,
Right.
when they were 6 and 8 when my husband passed away.
Right.
So they might have missed it. And we have had a lot of conversations. We speak a lot about my husband, about their father. We have videos which we keep looking at, so that they kind of
Remember
they
him.
remember him, and they also do not feel, it's very important, it was and still is very important for me to be speaking about him, so that they don't think it's a taboo to speak about the father. What will my mother do? Will my mother feel bad? None of those things. It's
Right.
because
It
when
should be a
there is,
natural flow of
yes,
conversation.
when love is an overarching emotion, I don't think these things will matter. So I think we have spoken about it. So yes, I've been by myself. I've been, like, I call myself a single parent, not a single mother, but a single parent, because sometimes you have to be the father, sometimes you have to be the mother. And when I say mother and father, it's not a gender specific role, or it's not a sexist statement. What I mean to say is, there are certain times when you're treating them as a woman would treat them, and believe me, there is a difference, and you're treating them or raising them as a man would. So there is a difference.
So I'm going to tap here, because that's a very
Yeah.
interesting point you just
Yeah.
mentioned.
Yeah.
Woman raising versus a man raising.
Yes.
Where did you see, out of your personal experience, where did you see that you playing those two separate roles. So could you probably throw an example here?
Yeah. So when it comes to very emotional things, when the child is hurt, how a mother and a father react are very different. The father
Right.
doesn't. My husband did, because he was different, but I've seen it. The mother is also crying with the child, because you're feeling, not that the father doesn't feel, the father also feels. Come on, he's a parent, okay?
Right.
The father also feels, but what happens is the mother is going to go overboard. Oh my God, what can I make you? What the father is going to do is ensure that the support is in place.
Right.
The medicine has been taken care of, the doctor visits have been scheduled, those kind of things. So you
Got
see,
it.
there are two ways to dealing, so it becomes a wholesome solution for the problem. So what happens when you are handling with it is you have to do both of them.
Right.
Sometimes you also have to tell the child. So when say for example, you are punishing your child, okay, for a wrong action. You're punishing the child. Now what happens is, suppose I say no TV for you for the next 2 days.
Okay.
All right. So this Saturday, Sunday, no TV for you. That's a huge punishment. Okay. Now the child is going to be very upset. Now what does the mother do? Mother says, "Koi baat nahi beta. I mean, it's okay. Maybe I'll tell dad. Maybe, or you know what? You behave yourself tomorrow. Maybe we can watch TV." So it's like you want to make leeway, because you feel that punishment is not. And I use the word feel because you're thinking from your heart. The father also thinks from his heart. Please understand. But what he says is, a punishment is a punishment. This angle, I think, does not, because I'm talking from my experience of my father and my mother. My father, of course, was. I think my father also very emotional.
In general.
But I'm talking about generally. There always are exceptions and outliers.
Of course.
So what happens? So now what do you do? So do you just brush off and say no TV for you, and I'm not going to have any more conversation? This is a non-negotiable punishment. Do you say that and show your
father side of
or do you
reaction
yes,
versus
the vulnerability? Do you show your vulnerable side and say, I know it's tough? So then the child will say, so can I watch TV? Please understand. So please, Ma, can I watch TV then? So how do you balance it?
How do you approach it then? Because every time, you're absolutely right to say that there are two different perspectives that a mother and a father comes from. So now that a child is in a situation, and you see that in front of you, there is something that has happened, and you know that you would have reacted in a particular way before the passing of your husband, while he would have reacted in a particular way. And there would be a small difference to how. And it doesn't necessarily mean maybe the father takes on the emotional role and the mother takes on the stern role.
Yes.
So it depends on different situations.
Yes.
Now, being the single parent there, taking on the role on both ends, and now that you see that your child has done something, and now you see it as a third person, that I could react this way as a mother and I could react this way as a father. How did you learn to define or converge or figure out where, when, what, how?
So first of all, it happens because you've had experiences. You're like, oh my God, what do I do now?
Right.
So there is a very dear mentor, actually my only mentor.
Okay.
I will stay away from names.
Right.
So he told me that, you know what, Usha, there will be times in your life when you have to think like a man, but act like a woman.
Okay.
That stayed with me.
Right.
Shobhna, that stayed with me, and he doesn't even remember making that statement. I told him a few years ago, and I said, you know what, Bhaiya, that really helped me. And he said, oh, really? I said that. So
I get that. What makes a difference and what stays is
it's very different. So I told myself that I'll have to think like a man in most situations in my life. By the way, I'm going to have to think like a man.
Okay.
However, I can't stop acting like a woman, right?
I mean, yes.
So and of course, you do think like a woman as well. But there will be situations where I have to, it's like wearing thinking hats, different thinking hats. Possibly this is a male thinking hat. I don't know what it's called. So what you do is, let's go back to this example of the punishing the child. Okay, so you've given a punishment and you say no TV, no technology for this weekend. So the child is going to say, oh no, that's just so not fair. That's going to be the first.
Of course,
offensive is the first that they play, right?
You're the worst mother ever.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you're not the worst mother, I'm sorry,
you're not a good Very well said.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what do? So you say, so the first thing you say is, yes, no TV.
Right.
And you immediately immediately show the vulnerable side. At least I have done that. I said, I know it's difficult. I'm also not watching TV. That's not necessary, but I may go out. I'm not going to say that I'm going to suffer with you. No, that's not. It's your punishment and you have to live your punishment, because then I tell the child that, listen, if you are having a punishment, I'll get punished with you. That's not. But I do give my, little bit of, listen, I'm also not going to watch TV on Saturday morning. Maybe we'll do something together.
Right.
It's kind of support. It's a child, after all.
Of course.
But I do say that, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, depending on the circumstance and the situation. Okay. But you show that vulnerable side and say, I know it's tough, I know what to do, but a punishment, you did behave wrong, right? And then when they say, but can I please? So you go back to your stern side and say, no, that's not going to happen.
A no is a no.
Yeah, a no is a no is a no. So yeah, that's so think like a man. Act like a woman.
I think that's a very, very, I mean, that should be like our
motto. Again, I'm not being sexist here, and I'm not saying because I don't want it to be misinterpreted.
No, I think the way we should take this is nature has designed us
exactly.
Otherwise, there'll always be only women or only men. Right?
Yes.
The reason why you have two different parts of human beings is because,
of course,
they on many fronts balance each other. On many fronts they differ from each other. I mean, it's not a man who can bear a child.
Exactly.
Okay, so this is how nature intended it. So it's not, and very frankly, when I come to even the fitness side of things, it's a reality that women are far more flexible because they need to accommodate a child.
Correct.
So hence, hip down or stomach down, we are far more flexible than a man. Man can reach there, but they have to build on it slowly. But a woman reaches there much sooner because she is already being designed by nature in a way to reach there sooner. So
thank you for acknowledging it.
Yes, it's a fact. I completely agree with that. I'm again going to go back to this moment. Very frankly, it's been a taboo in most scenarios, especially maybe in a culture where losing a husband becomes a very, very difficult thing to emotionally as well as financially, as well as there's just so many aspects, So I'm going to first tap upon the emotional side of things. It happened. It was a freak situation. There is a huge difference between losing somebody who you are aware you're going to lose in a matter of time. Let's say somebody in old age. You're far more prepped to acknowledge that you are closing in to the end. Versus somebody maybe who's undergoing an ailment. So again, you have a bit. I mean, it's not easy. I'm not saying either situations are easy. But there is a bit of acknowledgement inside you that says that the person has been ailing for this long, and hence inching closer to a point where you might lose them. Versus somebody who you just lose and you are not really having the moment of prepping yourself or acknowledging that bit. How was that phase? Because how did you, what was it like, frankly?
So if I were to go back, yes, it was a freak incident. It just happened one morning and I got a call. And I acknowledge and I agree. Grief is the same. It might just differ in how it hits you, but grief is the same. And interestingly, and these are questions which my older son, my older one, has asked me. So 1 year after my husband passed away, my father passed away 1 year later. Okay. So he asked me, do you miss your father more or your husband more?
Brilliantly said.
It's a brilliant question, actually.
Coming from a child,
child who was 9 years old. Okay. Right. So I wanted to tell her. So I said, listen, I miss both of them in different ways. He said, no, you have to give me one answer. Whom do you miss more? And I decided I have to be honest. So first of all, you have to be honest with your kids. Okay. I said, I miss my husband more. He said, that doesn't make sense, Ma, because you've lived with your father longer than you lived with your husband. So I said, you're right, but you have to be an adult to understand these emotions. And then of course we kind of wound up that conversation, but it's sort of, that conversation stayed in my mind, and I thought, why is it that when we lose a parent, the society does not make it a big taboo. However, when you lose your husband, your spouse, your husband, for a woman, it becomes a taboo. The reason is, for generations, for women, it is a social standing, right? Husbands are a social standing. Without a social standing, and I'm not saying it in a bad way, they are a social standing in a lot of places. I was known, and I'm still known as SL's wife in a lot of places, and I own it with pride. I mean, I wear that chip. I am SL's wife. So it is still
you become a Mrs. I mean, it
You
changes.
become, and I somehow think there's nothing wrong in it. You have to just find your identity.
You become
there.
a mother when you have children, right?
Yeah,
That
so
is also an identity.
That's also an identity. So I do not think there's anything wrong in having that social standing. However, when that social standing is off the equation, that's when the equation goes for a toss. The imbalance comes when that equation goes for a toss. So I realized I have to balance that equation. Now, how do I balance that equation? I have to make an identity for myself. I have to make a social standing. While he still remains, I will still always be his, people will know him as my husband. However, I have to make a social standing of my own. So how do I do that? It's very simple. Just be your own person, and people will see you. Be your own person, have your own thought process, do what you think you believe in, do what you think is right, own it with your heart, be true to yourself. I think being true to yourself is so important. My mother brought me up very differently. I bring up my children very differently. Both of them are right. Both of us have been true to ourselves and what we believe in. So I think going back to how do you manage that? I think just be true to yourself, be honest, create your own social, be your own social standing. I think that I am still so and so's wife. That nobody can take that away from me, right? Or from him now. I know. Sealed. I know. So, but I think it's very important and also we became a unit. Usha, Arjun and Siddhant became a unit. So I think that kind of helped. And again, I think support from my family, from my friends. I cannot tell you, from this community where I live in, I owe a lot to this community where I live in. It's a gated community. So yeah.
Sorry, I know.
Yeah.
I showed the expression that I had a question right there. You were like, yeah. Do you think, and I'm asking you this because you live in an accommodation, like you said, your husband was in the naval
fraternity,
and you are surrounded by defense fraternity, the way you said. So you're surrounded by defense fraternity, and to whatever extent, obviously, when a woman or a man enter into this environment, there is this unknown that is always lingering, that you may be losing your spouse at some point or the other.
Correct.
So do you think that probably was already there somewhere in the background, or do you think the community was more supportive because they have seen losses and they have seen grief in such a way, and a lot of women and men have undergone this. Do you think that's why they were well versed with guiding you and supporting you in a much more forward and calmer way?
To answer this question would be answering on behalf of the entire fraternity, and I hope I do justice. When you're getting married, you're not thinking that I'm going to lose my husband. It's just like it is any woman in love with a man, and any man in love with a woman, and looking forward to a life together. And
a long life together.
A long life together, building a life, children, house, family, friends, all of that. So no, you're not thinking of that. So when I or any other woman in the forces, armed forces, who has lost her husband, and when she got married, no, that's not the thought in our minds. But coming to the support system, I will address it in three parts. Okay. The support system that the armed forces gives you in case of such an incident happens is fantastic. Is also because they know, first of all, they have processes in place. They know what is to be done. So when I lost my husband, I saw things happening around me, and I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. So it was like there was, it was as if this SOP had just been put into action. And it's not that it happens every second day for you to be doing this.
Understood.
It comes from the heart, and it also comes from a place of process. So there is a system in place which protects and supports women who have lost their husbands. So I think I owe a lot of that support to this fraternity. They know exactly what kind of help that the woman would need. Yes.
Emotional or
financial.
Otherwise.
Yes. Emotional or otherwise. I'm going to put everything else in the other bracket. Yes. So that's the first thing. So that's the first reactionary support, right? The
Deepak.
second part, okay? The second part is an ongoing support. My dearest friends are my husband's course mates. When I say course mates, they are his batch mates.
Understood.
They are his chaddi buddies, okay? Chaddi buddies since 16, 17 years of age. They've known each other. They know things about each other, which of course the wives know it now, but they've not experienced it. Okay, so that's a bond which you never can. You cannot replicate it.
Right.
That's the
it's
bond.
For life.
It's
a bond for life
and beyond. Life and beyond. Yes, life and beyond.
Yes.
And
as you can see today.
Yes. And if I do choo cha to my course mates, and I call them my course mates, now they're my course mates. They're not my husband's course mates. And the best thing is these course mates and these friends of mine do not think of me as SL's wife. They think of me as Usha.
Right.
They have that's and going back to that's. I'm sorry, but that's the social standing that you have to, social support for yourself that you create. Okay.
Right.
While I'm still his wife, they look at me
as an individual.
Yes. So coming back to the ongoing support, if I say I need something, I'm telling you I will have the support at my doorstep in the next whatever they will define. Let them define the turnaround time. But the support
in 2 minutes.
In 2 minutes.
I'm counting it.
So that's the kind of support. And I'm telling you, if I call someone and if he's not able to help, there will be someone else. There will be a network which
that
will
gets tapped upon.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Whether it is help for me or for my kids, that support will always be there. So there is one support which is a reactionary, immediate support, and then there is an ongoing support. And I'll also tell you the third thing, which is what I give back to them. I think it's very important for me to have, to give back to them in terms of relationship, in terms of communication, in terms of being in touch with them, and in terms of connecting with them. I have always, and a lot of other women have always given it back to these people, to the system, okay, to the system, to this support system, whether they are your course mates or whether they were your let me extend this. Of course, course mates are very special, but also let me extend the support to there is a headquarters here. If I call and if I say I'm so and so's wife and I need this support, there will be something, things will get into action. Yes. So the entire system itself is designed to support us. So let me give that credit to the entire system. Where it's absolutely. So to answer your first question, yes, the support system is in place, and the gated community that I stay in also has a lot of retired and some serving officers. So it is like going out and it is village. A family. Believe me, by the way, when I came in here, people were already, I cannot forget that there were people who came up to me, who introduced me to so many other people. I will never forget that. And that helped me to form a bond, to form friends within a community where I didn't even know if I would know people, right? So I think, yes.
So if I had to take back something for a woman who has recently lost her husband or is probably, experiences that and in a very sudden manner or otherwise. I think one of the biggest things that I take back, and I make it parallel because I know not everybody is a part of the defense fraternity or the family. I think building a community, a set of connection or a village, an extended family that goes beyond your own family, having that entire system together makes the whole transition. And I'm not at all tapping upon the grief, because grief is so individual and so personal deep down. So that is nothing, that's an individual journey that one has to go through. But I'm tapping on everything else because it's a very sudden realization of an expectation from self, from your children, from the society. I think there's a big jump there that you have to, or a leap there that you have to take. I think the right word is a leap. And building that early on and having that village or a community, hopefully, and I'm not saying this is a written rule, but hopefully makes this a little bit more easier because you come with experiences of so many people.
Correct.
They all work towards that experience that you're trying to work in direction for.
In fact, let this be a rule that could be written. Right. And they do say it takes a village to raise a child.
They do. Right.
So let this be a rule which we write and say that create your support system, right? I mean, lean in is something which women have been talking about for the last few decades now.
Right.
But I think that support system, creating your support system, whether it is for yourself or for your children, I think it is so important. We all have our support systems, right? We have our neighbors, we have our friends, we have our mums, mum-in-laws, sisters, whoever's who watch over our kids. We have our nannies. Let's not forget them. We have, and the school and the teachers. So I think all of that is a support system, but also we need a support system which we can fall back on, which we strengthen. It's that the women can strengthen relationships, right? I mean, I think the again, not generalizing, but women do have a very high EQ where they can really form beautiful relationships, and keep it strong and strengthen it with time. I think so that's it's a great idea to form that support system. I hope that doesn't really happen with wishful thinking, but if it does happen, let's always, the plan B should always be there, kick-ass plan B. So
and you should, and I think it's important. I mean, it's not that anybody wants to think about the moment which it's not a plan B with which you enter into any relationship either, like you don't get married believing the plan B happens. But I think it's just equally important. And we say this often, and I hope it's also taken in the right
positive
spirit
way.
that the day you're born, your death is inevitable.
Of course, that's the only thing I think which is inevitable.
The only thing inevitable in your life is your death. And when that happens, nobody knows.
Exactly.
Honestly, my children, when they hear about deaths around, their first concern that comes in is, what if you guys die? And they say that. They ask me that.
Yes.
And I don't want to say, no, I'm not going to die, because I'll be lying. And I don't know when I'm going to die. What if I don't wake up tomorrow? I need them to be prepped to accept that life is uncertain. And death could happen to anybody at any point, at any age. It is unpredictable. So I always tell them that the day you're born, death is the only thing which is absolutely inevitable. So it's
so very similar. Sorry, I hope I didn't cut you in, but a very similar thing happened. Let me go back to my children now.
It's a huge aspect. I was going to come to that. So I'm glad you did.
So before we speak about my children, which I love to do. All mothers love to speak about their children, and sometimes
give us a day. It's not enough.
I know. So it's like those are my accomplishments sometimes. They are. I mean,
I'm not taking away that credit.
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry.
Oh yes.
I gave birth. It's a huge thing I did.
I carried them, for 9 months.
Changes in body, changes in hormones, and going back, coming back. I mean, there has been enough mental, physical
holding my
effort.
tummy for the last 4 months for both the kids. I mean, because I always thought the tummy is going to drop. I had this feeling that my tummy is going to drop. But anyway,
it's weighing.
It's weighing. So going back to this, my husband passed away, and in 3 days, my son asked me, so Ma, my older one, so he said, Ma, so what do we do if you die tomorrow? So the first thing which
and
I
this was after your husband's death?
Exact 3 days after, after the funeral.
Right.
So he said, so what do we do if you die? So the first thing which I told him, no, Rajay, I'll not die. He said, 3 days ago, you would have said the same thing about Appa.
Wow.
Oh my God, that hit me.
Right.
And I said, okay,
you're right.
You're right.
That's right.
So I wrote down a set of things to do, the step 1 to step 10 for both the kids.
Wow.
What happens? And I'm not sure how my younger one was 6. I don't know how he took it. I think he just shook his head at, for everything, because he was possibly emulating his brother. At that time, not now.
Right, they have their changes.
But that's something which possibly stayed with them. 2 years later, 2.5 years later, casual conversation, my younger one says, so I was telling them, you should remember my phone number by heart. I hope you know my phone number by heart. You should know it. And
what if you
he said, no, he said, I know Perima's phone number also by heart. So I said, oh, really? How come? He said, yeah, if you don't die, I have to call her. You told me. I was like, oh, yeah.
Wow.
So you see, it stays with them, and it stays, you deal with it. You talk about it in a very algorithmic, process-driven thing. They take it, and that's
there.
Again the mother and father thing. I mean, I'm coming back
brilliant.
to it. Yeah. You tell them what to do, and then you don't touch upon it. Let it be. Do not scar the child. I mean, do not traumatize saying that I might die. But then
that conversation is so critical.
Especially for a parent who sings. See, when there are two, a mother and a father, then if one goes away, the other one is there to kind of, become and then, to take on and to protect. it's a very inherent first emotion is to protect. If I say, what, your child is not doing this, every mother will always defend. Will not side with you and say, yeah, I know my child will. The first thing she will do is defend. She'll say, yeah, it's okay though. I mean, that defense, being defensive and protective about your child is the first thing. So every parent, so if one parent is not there, the other parent always steps up. Whereas when there is a single parent, I think it's a great idea to write down. Write it down for them instead of making a big deal.
If it happens, I mean, you don't want memory is something. Actually, writing down is amazing. And I'll tell you, I think, I mean, it's a parallel thinking, and I could be wrong, but it's a perspective I bring forward that when you are telling them, they need to keep reiterating it in their head to remember. Correct. But when you write it down, they know it exists and they don't have to think about it anymore. And they can come to it when they truly need it. So they don't keep rethinking or reiterating it. Absolutely. And when this discussion does happen, it's not an easy discussion. It is an emotional discussion. You're talking about losing a parent, talking about losing somebody who's very important to you, and it's not an easy discussion. And sorry to cut you here, and to add to this point, I, as a parent, do not know what my child is going through because I didn't lose a parent when I was a kid. I don't know what they're going through. Always remember, I have no idea what their child is going through. It is only my thought process of what their journey could have been because I have not lived it. I do not know it, right? I, as a parent, would always do the best knowing that this is in their best interests, okay? So while you're talking, so when it comes to, this point of writing it down is a great idea. Also, I do not know their journey, okay? So I might be superimposing, however, it's a very good idea to do it. Yes. I think the way the death is then absorbed by the children or talked about by the children also becomes natural. Yes, if you make it natural, if you make it natural for them, if you make it natural, if it's okay to cry, it's not that I never showed my emotions in front of my kids. I did tell them that I'm missing their father. I did tell them I'm missing my husband and I love my husband and I'm missing him. And sometimes I would tell them that, I feel like crying because I'm missing my husband. I mean, I wouldn't say my husband to them. I would say your father. Yeah. So it's very okay to show that aspect. However, it's very important to talk about, actually, you don't need to talk about death. They know how to perceive death. Once they have seen death, they know how to perceive it. You just need to allow them to talk about it. Let me say, allow them to be themselves and talk about it. That's about not
it.
Make a taboo or a
Don't
unnatural aspect.
Because it is.
And why not show your emotions? I mean, I think that is the biggest thought. They don't know how to respond when a death happens. And telling them that it's okay to sometimes not think about it. It's okay to think about it and cry. It's okay. All these emotions are normal. Are natural. And you will have your own processing. And no matter which emotion they tap upon at whatever time, all emotions are natural. So I think that being true to yourself makes it natural for them also being true to themselves. Absolutely. And I think that is a big taking from this. Absolutely. And let me go back to motherhood. Once I lost my husband, I think my children were my driving force. I cannot take it away from them. You see, it gave me the strength. They anchored me in the best way possible because I had to be my best version, right? I mean, my bestest version. I wanted to. You can't stop functioning because of grief. Exactly. And they helped you. While you have moments of grief, and they did too, by the way. They did too. I mean, I owe it to my family and friends for being that support so that we could pull through that, that time of grief. However, it is, we do have our strengths. We all have our anchors. I think for me, in the last 12 years, well, almost 12 years, they have been my anchor. They have been the driving force. They have set my routine as well. Think about it. My routine has functioned around my boys, school, classes, whatever, TV, movies, everything has been around my children. I would have my entertainment, I would have my classes, everything. I would function it. I would schedule it in such a way that it works around my children's schedule, which most of the mothers do. I mean, parents do. But I think they were my drive. And today, I think I'm saying it for the first time. So now that they're out of the house, now I'm possibly have to find it. Now I'm going to say it, and I possibly have to find another. I have to anchor myself somewhere else. I could anchor myself within as well. Anchoring within is a great idea. But
children being an anchor is amazing.
That is, I mean, I think it works both ways, right?
Yeah.
You being there for them, they being there for you, and you don't
Yeah.
realize the value
Yeah.
of them being
Yeah.
the true anchors. And
Yes.
irrespective of losing a partner, I think
Yeah.
they anchor you on so many fronts.
Oh, yes.
So
Believe
that
me.
I would completely.
Oh, yes.
You had a huge support system. You had a community. You're a village,
Mm.
and grief was obviously personally moved ahead with, and thankfully kids were there to
Yes.
help you anchor it
Yes.
and move
Yes.
in a direction which was, let's keep grief, but
Yes.
let's also work,
Yes.
because we now have to take that leap,
Right.
and now manage certain other aspects which you never probably considered as an
Right.
important aspect to manage on your front.
Right.
Were you already working
when my husband died?
Before your husband died, around that time?
Yes, I was working when I got married. I mean, before I had children, before I conceived the first one. And then for 10 years, 10 and a half years to be precise, I did not work. I used to be, I think I had this entrepreneurial streak somewhere. I used to do baking classes, I used to teach, I used to do bake sales and stuff like that.
Lovely.
I used to write a blog. So whatever kept me, kept engaged especially when the kids were in play school. And most amazing thing was, I still have people out of the blue who came and said, you know what, I attended your baking class. And I was like, oh, really? You did? And there was this lady who was so sweet. She sent me pictures of the notes that she had made during. So to come back to, yes, I was. So when my husband passed away, no, I was not working. And I, made a resume at that time, and my husband passed away in January. I stayed back where we were, and in the month of May I shifted to Bangalore, and July 1st I started working. I knew it will take a little while to get to a job, but this just happened. And the good thing was, I was working half a day. Can I name my organization?
Yeah, please.
I was working with Concern India Foundation. I started working with Concern India Foundation in 2014 July. It still is an all-women organization.
Wow.
Run by women, headed by women. And I used to work half a days. They were very kind. They said, fair enough. I used to work half a days only. So there was no, I mean, of course, there were some calls which would come in, and there were those days of events where, again, I had the support system. I would bank on them to take care of my children. So, events or whatever, exhibitions and things like that, which required my presence the whole day. But yes, I started working then, and then I picked it up. It's been 12 years since I've been working. Yes.
Lovely. So yeah, I think that's one aspect where you suddenly realize that you need to now manage the path that you didn't consider at some point.
Yes.
Did you, at that moment when this happened and you had to start working on a resume suddenly?
Yes.
Those were all, I'm sure, emotional yet practical moments.
Yes.
At that precise moment when you were creating that resume, was there this thought in your mind that now that you have taken a break, and I think it's not just for a mother who has undergone a grief,
correct,
but even a mother who is now looking to get back into this after a long break.
Correct.
Most of us, when we are creating those resumes at that moment, there is this big turmoil in our head about our own skill sets.
Yes.
But I think very beautifully said that you can tap on any skills.
Yes.
But do you think taking that break makes a big difference to restart?
So I think taking the break, first of all, is a very personal choice. Now, workforces and organizations are a little more open to women who have taken break to care about their children or their family. LinkedIn allows you to put that as, allows you to put it as a event, as a life incident. I mean, something which took away 3 years, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years. I mean, I don't know, whatever.
Right.
And also, the world is moving towards skill-based hiring. If we were to talk about hiring, then so what skills can you showcase? Yes, the level that you enter. And amazingly, now India has this brilliant startup ecosystem, which I'm a part of. I've been a part of, which doesn't really put you in a single vertical and say that, oh, you should have started, you should have had so many years. Yes, expertise, experience, all of that matters. However, I think it's very they are a little more accommodating. The entire workforce has become a little more accommodating. Having said that, yes, it is It is a challenge sometimes, a lot of times, for women to get back, because you do not know what is going to be my starting point. What is going to be my starting point to enter an organization? What is going to be my starting point to even write that resume? Right. So while we have AI which helps us now, however,
AI doesn't know you.
AI doesn't know me, exactly.
And what
Hopefully,
skills you
hopefully AI doesn't know
Not
me.
yet.
Yeah, and what skills I can actually bring to the table. So I think, yes, that could be challenging. It could be daunting. You could feel that, oh my God, I mean, you could feel a little overwhelmed. But I think the idea is to just make that step, get going, start, and you will reach.
So take that leap. You know,
exactly.
These negative thoughts generally come and go, and probably they hold you back. So if you're really interested in something, just take the leap.
Exactly.
You know, and overcome that fear.
Exactly.
Like how we tell our children, right? If you're afraid, just face that fear.
Exactly.
And, you know, and
exactly.
I think this is nothing but that.
Jeet hai is a real thing.
True.
Don't jump off the cliff, but yeah.
Yeah. उसके आगे कोई जीत नहीं है.